Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome to another episode of This Stays Between Us. And I've got something important to tell you, like really important to tell you. कितनी हंसी कि इनका आशिक मैं बन गया हूँ मुझको बसा ले इनमें तू. That was not what I wanted to tell you. I promise there's more. No, that is kind of what I wanted to. I love that song. It's one of the most beautiful songs that I know because it really encapsulates the beauty of seeing someone's eyes, and it's a lovely way to segue into the episode that I do want to tell you about. When I wear kohl, I think of you. When I Wear Kohl, I Think of You is an episode about friendship. It's an episode about the kind of friendships you wear like a second skin, and even when they're over and long gone, you can't bury them away because you learned so much from that other person. They taught you so much about how to live and how to be. So, what better than to have a little Bollywood song as an intro for this cinematic episode on friendship. Dosti. Friends, Bandubi, best friends, Koppa, meine beste Freunde. You know, I'm just saying friendship in all the different languages I know. What's friendship in your language? I'd love to know. Comment it below. But anyway, sit tight, grab your favorite snack, grab your matcha, your latte, your notebook, your blanket, whatever you want to grab, and sit down for this episode. The day she said Kohl, I laughed. And something in me softened. Where's the H? I asked. She buried it away. That's right. This is an episode to love who you are. She was the kind of girl who saw me, really saw me, beneath the front of a girl who has it together. She realized I didn't have it all together. She saw the cracks, and from her sweetness, she tried to fix them through phone calls and text messages asking if I was okay. But I wasn't. The day our friendship ended, I saw tears in her eyes, and it hurt. See, everyone talks about a breakup or a divorce, or he cheated on me, or this, that, the other, but no one talks about the death of a friendship. The quiet ache it leaves behind. How you can never go to the places you used to go to together because the ghost of what could have been still lingers. How, when you think of all the things she used to like, her face comes to mind. And you're lost in that overthinking again, wondering where things had gone wrong and if you could have said something differently. If maybe you were less afraid to show that person exactly how much they meant to you, then perhaps the friendship might have stayed. Welcome to this episode of This Stays Between Us, which is called When I Wear Kohl, I Think of You. There was this one time I let her braid my hair. Within her hands, I found the tenderness of a mother, of an older sister as she braided each strand of hair. When you're a girl who wears hijab, quite often you forget the beauty that lives inside you. I learned to look at myself the way she looked at me, with gentleness and warmth in her eyes. Zarian, you're beautiful, she said. Look at you. He doesn't deserve you. There had been a boy I was pining over, but he didn't want me. He didn't see me. He liked to talk to other people. And my friend, she knew how much I was hurting inside. She'd been on the phone with me while I cried about how I'm not enough, and she only pressed end call when I sounded happy again. She noticed how I struggled to say the boy's name. It was at the back of my throat, a loose thread with syllables so soft yet so dangerous, I nearly choked on them. Why can't you say his name? I stayed quiet. We were sat on the chairs that overlooked a high-rise window where you could feel the heat of the sun beating through. I stayed quiet because I didn't know why I couldn't say his name. Shame. That was the reason why. To me, he seemed like the perfect guy. And for me to not have achieved his affection, it felt like an exam I had failed. So, shame, coupled with the blaring heat of the sun and the anxiety in my belly, was why I couldn't say his name. All my life I had been taught that I had to earn love. Growing up in a Bengali household meant the act of performing was already etched in my bones. Look good for when the guests come. Make sure you get the highest mark in class. If you don't study a good subject, you're not my daughter. Why did he get into Oxford and not you? What's wrong with you? I had grown up with voices like this asking me what was wrong with me. Why did you fail? How many marks? That's why I couldn't say his name. Because I had taken to grading every strand of hair and each bit of my skin in the mirror, asking what was wrong with a woman like me. Why didn't he want me? She was the first girl who asked me, well, do you want you? Sometimes. No. Why, Zarin? Why don't you want you? To which I'd avoid the question and say, well, what do men want these days? How can I become that? And she always tried to get me to realize that maybe, just maybe, I was enough on my own. We were getting ready for a party once. She asked me if I wanted makeup. Come to my house, she said. I'll do your face and your eyes. No, I said, feeling afraid. I hadn't learned to befriend my reflection yet. I was afraid of how close she would be to the thoughts in my head that whispered, you're not good enough. Why are you going to the party? Just go back to bed. The noise in my head was loud, thunderous. But looking back, I wish I had said yes. I would do anything to be in a room, a quiet room, with soft light pouring through. Just me, her, and a stick of kohl. To have the rain pour outside as she dabbed glitter on my eyes. These days, I open my phone in the hope of seeing her name there, but no, those days are over. I have a habit of searching for people in a crowded room. And it's always her that I'm searching for, because she was that friend that taught me to look at myself as if I am worthy and stop grading everything about me, and to accept it and realize the beauty within. Turn around with my eyes trained at the door, wondering if she'll come through. But it's been so long since. It's been so long. Sometimes you have to bury a friendship, knowing that it's run its course and you've outgrown each other, even if they're that one person who taught you to look in the mirror with love. Whenever I put on kohl, I think of her. I think of her softness and the kindness with which she gave me a new set of eyes to look at myself with. Unfortunately, the movies that I watched as a kid taught me that as a woman, if I want to be loved and if I want to be worthy, I have to silence myself, silence my needs, tiptoe, shrink, and fit the beauty expectations of the man that I want. And not myself. No, I can't be who I want to be, I have to be what someone else wants me to be. And I think this goes beyond culture. This is something that everyone experiences, where they are living another person's life according to another person's set of rules. I wear kohl for me. I put on that kohl and I unlearn the things that I've learned throughout my childhood about what beauty is. I've learned that if love was a race, I can run. I can run with my heart pounding in my ears, my muscles tearing, burning. I can win the race because I've ran far enough, but I'm never given the medal, and I don't know why. The medal's just never given to me. So I walk away, not knowing whether my body is drenched in tears or sweat or both. But I do know that my heart is tearing, splitting into two, invisible blood splurting out from my veins as I watch the other runner walk away with the medal, to be worn close to their skin, around the base of their neck. They have won it. They have won the race for love. And what this is actually a metaphor of is how you can run really hard to win the approval of someone, and you work hard to win someone else's approval so that you can be loved. And yet, even when you've finished running through all those hoops, you got the best grades, you got the best job, you got the best certificates, you did all of it, but the other person got more, and so you're not enough. And so you don't get the medal, you don't win approval, you don't win love. You're just exhausted and shattered. My friend taught me that I don't have to run to be loved. I don't have to run. Love enters me when I take off the running shoes, I put them to one side, and I breathe. I decide to stop running and breathe. She taught me that. And with her teaching me that I'm enough as I am and I don't need to run, I don't need to chase, I don't need to mold myself into something that someone else will approve of. For the first time, my muscles and bones were filled with light. For the first time, I started to dance like no one's watching, in the quietness of my room, while the rain poured outside and soft light filtered through. For the first time, I smiled at the mirror and saw the sparkle in my eyes, the width, the curve, the depth of my smile. For the first time, I breathed properly. When you stop participating in something that is hurting you, at first you will be shamed for letting go of that cycle. When I stopped chasing validation, approval, when I stopped trying to be the daughter I'm meant to be, the woman I'm meant to be, the good girl next door I'm meant to be, when I stopped trying to be all of those things, I got shamed for letting go of the script, for choosing not to partake in something, a running race that was bruising me from within. I got shamed for it. But once the shame becomes something that fades into the background, like ambient noise, you listen to something beautiful filters through, and it's your voice telling you, thank you for prioritizing me and my needs, and for recognizing that this is hurting. When I stopped chasing the validation of others, by performing and restricting and silencing myself to fit with what other people want, when I stopped doing that, I found something beautiful. I found something peaceful. And it can be something different for different people. For example, you might find that you're getting back in tune with a hobby that you love, but buried away because people are like, well, what are you going to do with it? Or it might be that you are so obsessed with chasing and digging a hole for yourself that you've climbed out that hole and you see the light, and that light has brought you to something more truthful. For me, that was the Quran. I found myself leaning towards the Quran again. I found myself turning the pages and reciting the ayahs, feeding my soul with the oxygen that I had been missing. I could breathe. Alhamdulillah. When I wear Kohl, I think of that friend who taught me that I am enough. I think of the kind words she said to me, the way she listened to my tears and braided my hair, the way she embedded each interaction with softness and honey and so much kindness. And even though time has pulled us away from each other, and I do still feel the missing ache of a friend, and sometimes there is a hole inside me that wants the love from other people, that wants that approval, I go back to the conclusion that I found. The beauty of taking off that running shoe, of taking off each running shoe from my feet, putting them down, letting myself rest, and dancing around my room instead. Letting go of this radio in my head that says I need to be more, I need to be this, I need to be that, and I need to shrink myself in this way and increase myself in another way. I've turned off that radio. The radio's broken. I broke it. Alhamdulillah, I broke that radio. It has no place in my head anymore. Comment below your thoughts on the episode, and as always, may Allah put barak in your day, Ameen. And until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. See you for another episode soon. With love, Zarin. As long as you're with me, you'll be just fine. La 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 la. Nothing's gonna hurt you, baby. La 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 la. Nothing's gonna take you from my side.